This is the Music History Today podcast for January the 26th. On today's show, the Apollo Theater switches gears and Jamie Foxx blames it all on the alcohol. Before we forget, though, we very humbly ask you to like and subscribe to the channel if you find it interesting. That way it helps with that stupid algorithm that, well, essentially controls us all these days. Thanks. First up, on this date in 1790, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, the great composer, premiered his opera Così fan tutti. In 1934, the Apollo Theater in Harlem held their first show as a music venue because it had previously been known as a burlesque theater. In 1962, Chubby Checker's song The Twist was announced as being impure by Bishop Burke of the Buffalo, New York Catholic Diocese, who then went and had the song banned from all Catholic schools. In 1968, Pink Floyd played their first concert without former member Syd Barrett. In 1975, the David Bowie documentary Cracked Actor premiered on television. In 1977, Patti Smith fell off of a stage, sustaining a head injury in the process. And also on that same day, former Fleetwood Mac member Peter Green was admitted to a mental health hospital after threatening an accountant with a weapon. In 1979, the Music Center of Redinburgh opened. In 1980, Frank Sinatra sang before 175,000 people in Rio de Janeiro. In 1986, Alan Collins of Lynyrd Skynyrd was paralyzed in an auto accident. In 1988, the musical The Phantom of the Opera began its run on Broadway, becoming the longest-running show on Broadway with 13,981 performances before ending its 35-year run on April 16, 2023. In 1991, a-ha played in front of a then-record 198,000 paying people at a concert in Rio de Janeiro. A lot of those huge concerts that you hear about in Rio de Janeiro, I should say, are actually free concerts. In 1997, James Brown, ZZ Top, and the Blues Brothers performed at the Super Bowl halftime show, with the theme being the Blues Brothers Bash. In 2006, Garth Brooks' live album Double Live became the first live album to sell over 20 million copies. In 2011, Wilco formed their own record label, DBPM Records. In 2015, Tom DeLonge either quit or was fired from Blink-182, depending on whose story you're going with. In 2017, Kylie Jenner's request to trademark the name Kylie was declined, mainly due to Kylie Minogue, who filed a motion against Jenner's request, which kind of makes sense, especially when you consider that Kylie Minogue's been successful in using her name a whole lot longer than Kylie Jenner's ever been alive. In 2018, Fleetwood Mac played with Lindsey Buckingham for the last time. It was at the MusiCares Person of the Year Gala in New York City. After that, increasing tensions with Stevie Nicks led to Lindsey's departure from the group. He was then replaced by Neil Finn and Mike Campbell before the group's 2018-2019 tour. Speaking of 2019, in 2019, Miranda Lambert got married for the second time. In 2022, Spotify obliged Neil Young and took his music off of their platform after Neil complained about Spotify podcast host Joe Rogan spreading misinformation about vaccines. In award ceremonies that were held on January the 26th, in 1987, Lionel Richie and Whitney Houston were among the big winners at the American Music Awards. In 1998, Babyface and the Spice Girls were among the big winners at the American Music Awards. In 2014, Lorde, Justin Timberlake, and Daft Punk won at the Grammy Awards. That ceremony was overshadowed by Macklemore and Ryan Lewis winning a rap Grammy over expected winner and overwhelming favorite Kendrick Lamar. In 2020, Billie Eilish won all of the major awards at the Grammy Awards, becoming the youngest person, the first female, and the second person overall to sweep all four of the major awards. The first person to do it was Christopher Cross. The ceremony was also overshadowed by the death of basketball superstar Kobe Bryant the day of the ceremony, along with a sexism and racism scandal within the Recording Industry Association of America, which is the organization that presents the Grammy Awards. The big four awards, by the way, are Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best New Artist, and, of course, Album of the Year. And the racism and sexism scandal was ongoing. That had been built up as a big story for about a month before the awards took place. Albums that were released on January the 26th include in 1970 when Simon & Garfunkel released Bridge Over Troubled Water. Also in 1970, Harry Nilsson released Nilsson Sings Newman, and Chicago released their sophomore album, Chicago 2. In 1973, Deep Purple released Who Do We Think We Are, and Elton John released his big album, Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player. In 1983, Berlin released Pleasure Victim. In 1988, David Lee Roth released Skyscraper. In 1993, Emerson, Lake and Palmer released their live album, Live at the Royal Albert Hall. In 1996, the Bouncing Souls released Maniacal Laughter. In 1999, Foxy Brown released China Doll, and Dan Sueño released Moon Tower. In 2010, Beach House released Teen Dream, and Lady Antebellum, now known as Lady A, released Need You Now. Singles that were released on January the 26th include in 1968 when the Delphonics released La La Means I Love You. In 2009, Jamie Foxx released his big single, Blame It on the Alcohol, and also on that same day, the aforementioned Lady Antebellum / Lady A released their huge hit, I Run to You. In 2014, Austin Mahone released Yeah. And in 2016, Selena Gomez released Hands to Myself. Before we continue, we'd like to tell you that starting in January, we're starting a new channel on YouTube of the Music History In-Depth podcast, along with starting a new season with more stories and podcasts on that channel. We're also starting a new Music Halls of Fame podcast channel on YouTube with more podcasts. Plus, we're starting 2 new podcasts on this channel, one that concentrates on the music events and charts for the week, and one that looks at the business side of the music industry. Now, back to the Music History Today podcast. Artists who were born on January the 26th include the iconic, one of the greatest guitarists of all time, Mr. Eddie Van Halen of course, Van Halen. Also, gospel singer Kirk Franklin, DJ Jazzy B of Soul to Soul, Andrew Ridgeley of Wham, Charlie Gillingham of Counting Crows, Norman Hassan of UB40, singer Anita Baker, singer Lucinda Williams, David Briggs of Little River Band, Andy Hummel of Big Star, Derek Holt of the Climax Blues Band, Corky Lang of Mountain, Ashley Hutchings of Fairport Convention, singer Gene Knight, musician Piano Smith, country music singer Claude Gray, Broadway star Ann Jeffries, musician Paige Cavanaugh, composer Jimmy Van Heusen, musician Stefan Grappelli, Maria Augusta Von Trapp of the famous Von Trapp Singers and family, who helped to inspire, of course, the movie and the Broadway musical The Sound of Music. Singer Ronnie Hilton, Tom Kiefer of Cinderella, Matt Heafy of Trivium, singer Sapphire, rapper I'm Chang Young, singer Moonbin, Gary McSpadden of the Imperials, singer Marilee Rush, and Christopher North of Ambrosia. Artists who unfortunately passed away on January the 26th, other than anybody mentioned earlier, includes violinist and civil rights activist Zitkala Saw, opera singer Grace Moore, pianist Ignaz Friedman, musician Jay Higginbotham, drummer Kenny Clark, singer Karen Young, pianist Jeffrey Parsons, the conductor of the Los Angeles Philharmonic from 1948 to 1965, Mr. Henry J. Lewis, guitarist Stevie Plunder of the Plunderers, blues drummer S.P. Leary, music teacher Shinichi Suzuki, pianist John Browning, country music singer-songwriter Charlie Lovin of the Lovin Brothers, Singer Gladys Horton of the Marvelettes, the conductor of the Cleveland Chamber Orchestra, Mr. Edwin London, singer-songwriter Colin Vercombe of the group Black, pianist Bryce Rode, conductor Francisco Savin, pianist Igor Zekov, jazz musician Michel Legrand, opera singer Wilma Lipp, singer Bob Shane of the Kingston Trio, rapper Six Dogs, punk rock singer Janet Mead, jazz guitarist Dean Brown, and Gary Greer of the Contours. Next on the Music History Today podcast, it is January the 27th, when in 1970, John Lennon wrote and recorded the song Instant Karma all on the same day.